Hello,
evening.
hi, good evening. Uh, Medyo mahina ang voice mo.
Ah, oh yeah, how about that?
Could you, I guess mag-a-adjust na lang ako dito.
Oo, salamat.
Yeah, alright, no problem. Well, thank you so much for doing this. And I'm actually pretty excited to talk to you and about lalo na dun sa nakita ko kasi how you described yourself like a CEO of a cybersecurity firm and a maritime industry quote unquote geek or nerd.
We are mixing it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really kasi I'm also myself I like tech. I'm I'm mostly involved at the moment um sa PC and but the maritime industry also I'm curious about it kasi uh you know I'm not let at this at this point you can just consider me na someone na outsider pa rin. But I'm really interested on how it works kasi when I'm studying like markets and also history, I like history and that I learned some time ago na the Philippines is actually a maritime country
Of
and
course. Yes.
yeah, a maritime country and nag-iba yung perception ko like how things go. Kasi oo nga naman, like our country is made of like 7,000 islands, right? Mas maraming
Yes.
tubig sa atin kaysa lupa. Parang ganun. And yet,
Yes.
we are not, it's like we're missing big on this. I'm not sure, this is just my personal opinion that we're missing big on the maritime industry kasi nga wala pa akong alam kasi from my very very limited point of view, ang focus ng development mostly is the cities, 'di ba, like building new centers of let's say hub ng economic business districts, yung mga ganong klaseng approach ba. But
Mm-hmm.
when I was like learning about this, parang curious ako how it is. It's like there's this fun fact na nabasa ko na with the Philippines didn't have roads until the Spanish came, like in 1500s. And
Mm-hmm.
the centuries before that, people just traveled by boats. So
Yes.
it's like napaka like yung road, I mean the maritime road system. I don't know the proper term again. I'm just I don't know what the proper term is. But I guess the road systems, the water road systems is like well established na siya to the point na hindi ginagamit ng lupa to travel. And it was
Yep.
like things could be so much more efficient. It's like no, when it hit me, when I first learned about that fact, it's like it hit me na parang, oh nga naman, like you wanna solve the traffic? Heck, we got the really big river like right there, like the Pasig River, di ba? Like
Mm-hmm.
rehabilitate that thing and then put some boats in it and then paano magta-traffic doon? The collisions, it's like parang ganun. And beyond that, it's like the transportation itself. It's like why big, why build, we spend so many time, spend so much time and resources building roads to bridges and all of that when you could just, go back to your roots, to our collective roots. I mean, quote unquote, and just go on boats and utilize the water as transportation. So yeah, anyway, I rambled about that. This is why yun nga kaya nga excited din ako
No
makausap ka
problem.
about excited din ako makausap ka about this. And by the way, I'm recording now. So yeah, this is
Mm-hmm.
pretty much it. So this is how my thing goes, and I
Oh,
like it
okay.
raw. I like it sashimi style, quote unquote.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, for the listeners, by the way, masyado ako na-excite. So for the listeners who are listening right now who are who stumbled upon my podcast on wherever, could you introduce yourself and what you do? Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So for the record, my opinion doesn't reflect our firm. Okay, so this is my purely opinion, and I'm purely a geek and a researcher since I was a kid. So I'm Louella, the CEO and co-founder of LC Cybersecurity Corporation. So what we're doing in the market right now is all about cybersecurity. Whatever is connected to the internet or the cyberspace, we are there. So today, of course, people are kind of confused what's going on with cybersecurity and
Mhm.
ano ba talaga yung cybersecurity. Because
Mhm.
every time that people ask me, especially let's just say Filipino companies, what cybersecurity is, they are confused about cybersecurity is all about hacking.
Mhm.
Cybersecurity is all about computer lang. So,
Mhm.
uh, not really. There's a lot of misconception going on with cybersecurity. And let's jump in with the maritime sector. Yes, I am interested in the maritime sector because way back before, I've been working inside a maritime company who is maintaining the ships
Mhm.
in the Philippine market. So, dun ko nakuha yung idea or dun ako na-encourage that hey, there's something interesting in the water or the maritime sector that people forgot.
Mhm.
Uh, when you had mentioned about, let's just say, historically speaking, yes, our transportation started with boats, ships, and anything about water. Number one, because kahit nung unang panahon, do you remember your history class and ano ba yun, araling panlipunan class when you were just an elementary student regarding um, tulay na lupa, tulay na yelo?
Yeah, of course,
So,
I love history.
yes. So way back before, people only walks, right? With all of this connection between land and water, land and other territories. But there's one connection that people let's just say, forgot to understand. That is totally the water. So if the earth is composed of I forgot how many land, we the earth is according to my memory composed of 70% water. Tama
Yeah,
ba ako? So it
mostly.
means logically speaking, majority of the earth's surface is water. So bakit natin kakalimutan ng tubig? So that's why maritime is there. So, that's my background. And another thing, so chill lang yung podcast na to. So, I'm a graduate of mass comm when I was in college, but I took foreign service as my master's degree.
Oh,
So, I really love history as well at some point, but specifically on the Oriental philosophy and history. So
wow.
medyo pinag-aaralan ko ulit ang Roman Empire, Greek Empire. So, but my knowledge or my interest at some point is inside the Roman Empire and the Oriental philosophy of the ASEAN region. So that's it.
Oh, wow. Those are pretty dense topics. Like hindi madaling. Yeah, me personally, yeah, those are pretty interesting. Like Roman Empire, of course, one of the greatest empires that ever happened on Earth's history, diba? And
Yes.
yeah, as well as you're also tapping into the Eastern philosophies and Eastern. It's interesting you said that because at the moment I'm mostly kind of still, syempre adulting and all of that. But personally myself, I'd love to learn how the Asian, the eastern part of the world developed. Mostly kasi ngayon, ang mga literature is mostly, syempre, sa China, nandun sa mga malalaking ancient civilizations. But my
Mm-hmm.
interests are mostly about the mythological stories, mostly about, at some point, of course, it touches the metaphysical belief systems, some religious systems, how they evolved here in the East, how does it differ from the Western perspective, which is, of course, di ba, napakalaki ng impact sa atin ng Western, when the Western world came to our shores by means of the Portuguese and all of that, it brought Roman Catholicism and all of that with all its, pros and cons. But then again, before that, the how did people live? What did they believe in? Bakit may mga pamahiin tayo? Sort of like that na bakit bawal maligo kapag may namatay? Something it doesn't the Westerners didn't bring those to us. Alam mo ba 'yon? 'Di ba may pamahiin tayo? I don't know. Familiar ka ba doon? I guess let me rephrase.
Oh,
Familiar ka ba doon na kapag may namamatay sa like pamilya or something, bawal maligo? Are you
no, I'm
familiar with
not.
that? Okay,
No,
you're
I'm
gonna
not.
love this because it's related to water and it's really important. And it's one of the things that like parang really the water is okay. So here's the thing. May pamahiin kapag may namatay. I think you can ask this to tita, tito, lolo, lola. But, pag may namatay, bawal maligo. Bakit may ganung pamahiin? It doesn't make sense. Well, I did some digging and I watched this. There's really a good lecture in this. UP Diliman has a channel na nag-discuss it. There's some, I forgot her name, sorry, her name escapes me, but she's a professor. She's an expert in maritime stuff din. And ito yung sabi niya. Kasi noong unang panahon, walang toilets, walang bathroom na personalized ang bahay. Ang mga tao nun dito sa Pilipinas, well, wala pang Pilipinas no, dito sa atin is naliligo sila sa ilog. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And when someone dies, their spirit, it is the belief of the native people na kapag ang tao namatay, his or her soul goes into the river. Fo-flow siya doon. Dun siya. And then from the river, it flows to the sea, which is where everything came from. See? Parang, di ba? Parang, I see. So, yung mga tao nun, naliligo sila sa ilog. So, kapag may namatay, ang pamahiin nun, huwag kang maliligo sa ilog. Kasi kapag nadaanan ka nung kaluluwa nung namatay, isasama ka niya.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Now I'm getting it. Okay.
Di ba? So parang napaka, like, what? Okay, so it's like really interesting now. The thing about water and the maritime and all of that, parang yung mga tao doon, mga mandaragat ng Pilipino, kinatatakutan sila ng, people from China, people from Taiwan. So sobrang galing na like warlords with ships and armadas and with their own barangays na pupunta sila sa I don't know, Taiwan maybe pinakamalapit, and then people are really scared, like these are the people who are really good at sea navigation, so stuff like that. But yeah, I digressed again. But all good. Again, really interesting water type of stuff. So mabalik tayo sa'yo. Since actually ikaw naman yung yun naman talaga yung gusto kong makausap. You said, so cybersecurity, maritime industry. You said before you worked at a maritime firm, and I would assume you still have connections. And also, I'd like to ask you about the challenges, and if you would indulge me about your career, about the maritime industry, what it took, and what it took to set up your own company. But isa-isang step lang. First, let's talk about yung since you're now CEO, you founded your own company. What made you? You said earlier. What made you like combine the two worlds together?
Oh, because first, when I'm doing a research when I was in grad school, I realized that there are other sectors na kailangan talaga mag-upgrade and mag-transition, not just in technology, but in the change management as well. So what I realized when I was writing a paper, which is all about the implication of hacking and cybersecurity in the international and national security, I just realized that water is a very important part of security, and that's how the idea came from. So that's the answer to that question.
Mm. So like after after college you wrote off you took your masters. Did you have your eye na agad na this is I want to work in this field, or did you somehow just um just talagang did you seek it out, like talagang with a purpose? Kasi one of the what I'd also like to explore is how successful people like you who are killing it in their fields of who are really passionate and working on their projects or on their careers on themselves is how they made it. And right now, diba, you own your
Mm.
own firm. So how did kind of let's take the historical approach if you
Oh yeah, very
indulge,
factual
yeah.
ba? Naku.
Yeah, that's like it's like yeah, it's like
Very
just
factual ah.
kwento, yeah, kwento mo. Did an old man from a maritime
Oh
film, you
yes.
are the chosen one, or something like that. I'd like to hear it. And
Yeah.
siguro I guess
Mm.
career advice na rin to those who may wanna go into the maritime industry as well.
Oh, sure, sure. Actually, it's not really my dream to have a firm or to create one or to have a cybersecurity and then have an interest in maritime. No plan since the beginning of my life. My only goal when I was still in a kid or high school or college is really to write. To write academic papers, to write a book, to publish books, which is meron na ako naka-out. Uh, that's really my goal. That's really my dream. However, when I was scrutinizing some area of research, which is the cybersecurity, and then nahapyawan ko si Maritime, let's just say 5 to 7 years ago, I realized that, hey, this is really interesting. And wala masyadong paper or wala masyadong individuals who has an interest to understand the synchronicity or the what you call this triangulation of cybersecurity and maritime. So I dig in. So talagang nagpaka-nerd po talaga ako for how many years of my life. And then from there, I met people, I met the proper connections, good people, and strangers who help me understand the importance of cybersecurity in the maritime sector, the importance of maritime sector to the economy and the economic hub, not just in the Philippines, but also internationally. So the importance of cybersecurity to the cyberspace world and etc. and etc. So going back to your question, if pangarap ko talaga siya, not really. It evolved. As I decide which is good for me, nag-e-evolve talaga yung nagiging result. So, it's a discipline factor. Not totally 100% it's really my dream. So when I reached that point that, hey, I have this opportunity to create something to help others and to understand the deeper meaning of cybersecurity, uh, triangulating or cross-reference it to maritime, talagang nag-focus na ako doon. And I've been doing it for how many years? More than 5 years. However, we executed the cybersecurity firm model just last year because we realized this is the perfect time for it. Sometimes, whether you have a plan before or whether you have a dream or passion, you need to ask one question. Is it timely to execute it? And that's the question that we asked ourselves and my team few years back. There.
Mm-hmm. I gotta agree because ngayon it's the data that flows. That data has to be secured. Lalo na it's the age of big data analytics, artificial intelligence. How to optimize your systems, and yeah, security is. Yeah, I would agree to what you said. Na ang security is somewhat in at the back of our heads, 'di ba? It's like the
Yeah.
privacy of your data, because the habit, of course, is uh, I mean, I'm speaking from again a limited point of view from someone na hindi ako expert, na I'm not a techie about like these sorts of really hardcore protocols, but from my understanding it's talagang the hacks and your data right now, your data is like it's the new oil, and you don't want to get your oil stolen by others na didn't earn it. And so yeah, it would really help with automation and how to build your business and how to build, move it forward, scale it up, whatever you want to do with it. And yeah, you said you've been working on it for 5 years. I would assume ikaw lang mag-isa. How did you go about building a team? Because personally, me, I still sometimes think about expanding, like, oh, what can I do, am I ready or something like that. But somehow I don't know, maybe I'm having some um when it comes to like getting people on board with the something like, you know, building a team to like build a business. I don't know, I'm not really into, you know, ready, I guess, take a plunge for that. I got so much on my plate right now. It's like, yeah, it's not timely. Like you said, it's the timeliness, right? It's a
Yeah.
timeliness, and yeah, I'm glad to hear now you found a great time, like a great time to strike at the opportunity. Yeah, how did you build your team? Is your friends, family members?
Oh, that is a very interesting question. As I mentioned kanina, when I was doing the research, I encountered a lot of interesting individuals along the way. And how did I found my team and created or founded the company with my team is that first, of course, you need to understand who are your networks and your circles is. And then from there you filter. And then that's what I do. That's what I did. I filter which are the individuals that I can trust first. Instead of focusing of how intellectual this person is, I focus on can I totally trust this person instead of just creating a business and then rely on their intellect, or I would love to create a business with them, trust because we have the trust already, and just use the intellect to make it more better or to make it better. So I
Mm-hmm.
did the latter. So I first look for individuals who I trust. And then from there, it evolves. And then from there, nagkaroon na ng new connections, nagkaroon na ng new friends, nagkaroon na ng, let's just say, proper individuals and specialists who guided me and guided the team to what we are right now.
Mm-hmm. How many are you with sa team nyo?
So when we started the team, tatlo lang kami. Of course, magsisimula tayo sa maliit. So,
Hmm?
tatlo lang kami noon. And then suddenly now we are growing more than 8 to 10 with all the advisors that we have. And everyone in our team are totally a what you call this cybersecurity enthusiast and a nerd with sa discipline nila. For example, I have my team member who understand programming at the age of 11, the age of 11, and then I have a team member or a founder that who has an interest to understand what's going on with employment, really not just because they want to do what the accreditation or the government agency says, but they are so passionate that they want to help this the employment status of our future staff. So it's not just about how intellectual or smart they are. It's about they it's about they're intellectual, yes, but can they totally execute it too? So yeah, we're three and then now we're eight. We're aiming 10.
Mm. Mm.
Mm.
Wow.
Last year lang kami ah.
Last year lang, yeah. That's what actually that's what I'm thinking about. From 3 and then just a year 10. Wow, that's like exponential. It's like, you know, it's a square. Uh, it's an exponential expansion of your team, and I understand that working with, you know, more people can be difficult at times and can be more complicated. But you certainly know. I think you certainly know what you're doing. So ito, I got a question for you. So
Shoot.
what does your company or firm exactly do? Let's say I'm you know, you don't really need to uh be uh so specific with your, I don't know, packages or or your
Oh yeah,
pricing.
don't
Let's
worry.
not go there.
We will not go
let's
there.
not,
I'm
yeah,
not
let's not
selling.
go there because it's boring. But yeah, I'm more interested about, let's say I'm in the maritime sector and I need, you know, well, actually, I don't know that I need your firm. What can your firm do with my business so I
Mhm.
could get, you know, I guess you could help me grow it in the maritime sector.
Oh yeah. So in our firm, one of our strength is really the offensive side of cybersecurity. So that will go under the penetration testing, vulnerability and penetration testing. So the acronym for that is VAPT. So what are we doing here? So we are here to simulate the possible attack na manggagaling sa malicious person, or let's just say cyber criminal or hacker, things like that. So yun yung isa naming ginagawa. Paano? So we will not go into details,
Yeah.
pero let's just go with the gist. So paano siya? For example, you have a maritime firm or you have a maritime company, and then you have a website. So one of the way that a malicious person or hacker can do is to penetrate or exploit your website, and we are here to help you prevent it, especially if your website has full of information or may credit card payment or meron kayong ibang payment gateway, may mga iba pang integration. We are here to help you assess what's going on the website itself. So para kaming nag-investigate talaga kami ng mga flaws. So that's the layman's term on how I can explain it. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
VAPT, that's one, just for the
Mm-hmm.
website. We also have mobile application. So, for example, you are a developer and you want us to pen test it or simulate or assess it, what's going on your code, so that when i-live mo na siya, hindi na siya ganun ka-prone sa attack. So, yun talaga yung ginagawa namin, just for the record.
Mm-hmm.
Those are just some. But
Mm-hmm.
we also have now cyber defense, which we can monitor what's going on your system and let's just say organization system. Para pag nagkaroon ng attack or para maiwasan din ng attack, that is a monitoring one. So those are the two things that we're doing. But due to what fact that everyone is going digital, our company already expanded into IT solutions na rin and e-commerce.
Mm. So lahat ng aspects I guess ng digitization ng I guess the maritime industry is an old one. So yung mga systems nila in place at the moment are in need to transition into some much digitally savvier products I guess na built for the modern landscape kasi 'di ba maiiwanan ka na if yung gamit
Exact,
mong computer gamit mong computer
exact.
Windows 95 pa.
Oh, wala na po niyan ha. Baka meron
I
pa
know.
sa atin na
I was just exaggerating, but you get
but
the point because some firms maybe use some floppy disks for their for their stuff. I mean, computers with floppy disks. Yun yung kanilang storage solutions. So yeah, it's really interesting to hear. And so when did this uh uh I mean, kailan siya nag-hit sa'yo while you were writing this, right? Or, you know,
uh
while you're
the
writing
idea
your
itself,
thesis?
the idea
Yeah.
itself, I mean
Yeah,
the
the
idea.
inception.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. Oh, I don't want the listener to laugh, but the idea came, yung specific idea came because of my let's just say my first proposal indicates about very interesting topic that I have before. Let's just, it's very confidential kasi, hero.
Mhm.
So hindi ko
Mhm.
masabi. Let's just say,
Yeah, I
yeah,
understand. I understand. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So let's just say that it came from my first proposal in a research because I really, really want to dig into that topic. Unfortunately, my professors before mentioned and even stopped me from doing it because they mentioned that if you want to be safe, then you don't do it. Okay, that is literal. So what I did is that I cracked some information relating to what's the core of my first proposal going to the next. And that is correlation to cybersecurity. So, dun
Mhm.
talaga nag-start. And
Mm.
yung pinaka-idea kung paano siya na-stitch is just me staring at the white wall and do nothing, and sometimes wala talagang papasok sa utak mo para magkaroon ka ng maayos na concept for research. But whenever I relaxed the mind, dun siya nag-hit. And then from there, I expounded it, I solidify it, I crystallize it with the help of my team, with the help of the people who became my backbone when I was writing the paper. So nung mga panahon na walang naniniwala sa akin na may mangyayaring ganito, may mangyayaring recession because few years back, nakita na namin ng team na magkakaroon talaga ng recession. Pero hindi namin alam kung paano. And then suddenly the pandemic came in.
Wow.
So that's how it started.
Mhm. Mhm.
Sabi ko
Wow.
sa'yo, nerd talaga ako eh.
Yeah, that's some really that would take. Yung sinabi mo pala, you're just staring at the wall. That could be quite a torturous experience for some people na, they don't have the mental capacity to do it and just like, stare ka lang and then let the thoughts wash over you until there's some there's some idea. Because yeah, I also do a bit of writing, but sometimes you just stare at the blank page until the page talks to you, and then the words
On,
fill,
exact.
diba? The words
Oo.
fill themselves out. Speaking of words and all of that, yun mo muna tayo because I'm really impressed by your, what you've said right now about your business and all. You're killing it. And I think this is the first time I've heard about, even, I don't know, do you have competitors ba in the industry at the moment? Or are you the first, pioneers to do it like in that sector?
Oh, we have competitors. Madami ang cybersecurity firms and they are amazing. Lahat ng cybersecurity firms na makikita nyo, akala nyo nasa IT lang or IT specific lang sila, pero hindi. There are other cybersecurity firms out there and there's a lot of cybersecurity experts who are intellectual, amazing, and you will just mapapawaw ka na lang kasi they are speaking alien sometimes. So, marami. Yeah, marami. Marami naman and dumadami pa. Why? Because kahit sabihin mo na ang dami niyo ng competitor, marami ring attacks and hindi kaya to ng isang firm lang.
Mhm.
Hindi kaya to ng isang team. It is really a collaboration of different way of thinking and different mindset. Because in cybersecurity, hero and listener, I just want to correct this. Cybersecurity is not always IT alone. It is a combination of different discipline. So, hindi lang siya yung you need to understand programming, you need to be a graduate of IT, you need to be a graduate of computer science. No, that's not it. There's a lot of factor to consider to be a cybersecurity expert besides from certifications. Because in cybersecurity, it's all about just like data, of course, information gathering, research, data analysis, and of course, pen testing and cyber defense. A lot of factors going on. So, yun lang yung gusto ko ring i-correct. It's not about
Mhm.
just pure IT. It's a lot of discipline.
Mhm. Well, you know what they've said, 'di ba? Parang sometimes the worst encryptions are the people themselves. It's like, sometimes they're the weakest links in the encryption. Like ask them, parang manipulate them to giving them your password and everything's compromised. 'Di ba? Your fingerprint, your face, whatever. But yeah, it's I think it's a big industry like maritime, but like you said, there's competition na marami. I didn't expect na marami pala kayo, but
Yes.
yeah, na na marami pala. But then again, competition is what makes um uh is what separates the cream from the crop talaga, and from the way you describe your firm and what you do, and it's pretty complex, and yeah, I think you're still doing good. You're not, you don't sound, problematic as a CEO.
Nako, kung alam niyo lang. Nako, parang ilang 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 mag na ba ako ng kape? Parang gano'n na ba? Ano na namang balita? Kung alam niyo lang.
Oh, well, now that you've said it, well, I'd like to transition to that talk. How is the life of a CEO? Because I've talked to some of my friends and of course some strangers that I've had the opportunity to converse with this, conversation, and you're the first one talagang CEO, like with the company, the cybersecurity, with a pretty unique niche. That's why yun nga nakaka-excite. So how I mean, let's talk about productivity for a bit. So we got through with the abstracts and all the big things that's involved in that's involved in the inception of your firm. But how do you run it? Like, you're the executive, so how do you execute stuff? So I guess, let's start with, how do you start your day? How do you keep yourself from, like, you know uh waking up and just say, like, yeah, game face on? What's your, I guess, productivity habits?
Oh yeah, my rituals.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
yeah, I have my rituals, of course. Every day I have an hour of psyching up. I called it psyching up because I don't know what will be the issues, the problems, the challenges that I'll be handling for a day pa lang. So every day I have a psych up ritual which includes bossa nova music, classical music, and a cup of coffee. And that's it. Sometimes I have a sandwich. And then I'll be there alone on my favorite spot listening to those playlists, and then that's it. It's one of my ritual to psych up. And then after an hour or two, I'll be checking my emails and then checking all the phone line, all of the platform that we have now in social media because there's a lot. Dati kasi hindi ganun kadami. Ngayon, madami na. If you are in the ASEAN market, you have WhatsApp and Viber. If you are on,
Line, WhatsApp,
yeah,
Viber, lahat yan.
tama, lahat. Yeah. 'Pag Filipino market, mas active sila sa Facebook
Facebook.
compare mo sa ibang line. And then kapag mga American, nasa IG naman sila. And if they want meme, you go to Twitter. So there's a lot of things going on aside from the marketing stuff. So that's how I start my day. I have my psych up moment. And then from there, my schedule, lagi siyang advance. So, meron akong a quarter schedule and then lalagyan ko na yung another quarter ng year for a schedule which are important so that my calendar will not be mixed up because I have 2 to 3 calendars going on my phone, on my computers. So, yun yung mga rituals ko. And yeah, that's how I start my day. Not yet complex, not yet complex.
Hmm. So the day has been started once you step in the office. It's like, what's your, philosophy in terms of, like, executing stuff? Like, uh, are you the type na, would you, that you describe as, I mean, I guess, you mentioned earlier about synchronicity. How do you, get your team involved, I guess? Because, we're talking about, like, your personal stuff, but, yun nga, pag ano mo, you work with other people in your team.
Yep.
uh how do you push them as well?
Okay. So for my team, before they start the day or pag mag-start na kami ng day, they already know their task. Before pa pumasok yung next day or before pa pumasok yung another week because I'm a very I'm a very what you call this? Nasa plano talaga ako sa calendar. So for example, my team they need to do a marketing stuff. So I will schedule that a week or 2 weeks before the deadline. A week or 2 weeks before the day itself so that they have the preparation. The proper preparation stuff. So hindi ako yung uri ng leader na biglaan lagi. I want everything in line. I want to give time to my team members, to my founders, so that co-founders, so that they know that we have the proper time to do this. However, because we are in the cybersecurity firm, may mga emergency and alerts kami.
Mhm.
So kapag dumadating yung mga ganong bagay, everyone is ready naman. Uh, Proper communication sa team is the first great advice that I can give because without you communicating properly, everything will fall into shadow. Everything will be chaos.
Mhm.
So proper communication. So that's one. If you will ask me what kind of leader I am as a CEO, I'm not a very hard power leader na parang authoritative. I'm not like that. Okay.
You mean
uh,
authoritarian? I think you're pretty authoritative.
Kinda,
But
but
maybe not authoritarian, I guess. Yeah.
yeah,
Hindi
not
Hitler.
authoritarian. Hindi
Something.
Hitler, hindi ganito. So, yeah, that's correct. So I'm not like that. I want. everyone on the table to suggest what's going what's going on in their brain or their mind, because there are great ideas coming on from the team members. My brain alone will not handle all of this pressure and all of these challenges without them. So that's what I can share with you.
Mhm.
Without my team, the LC community will not be here.
Mhm.
So proper teamwork and communication. That's the
Mhm.
main key for everything. It's more about collaboration than being a competition or competition itself. So if someone wants to grow, we support them. For example, uh, after a year or after 6 months, can I get a training under cybersecurity pen test? If one of the part of sales would love to do that, then we are in full support.
Wow.
So hindi kami yung we don't define a person or a team member because of their title. We don't define that. We see excellence in every individual we have in the team. So for example nga talaga, someone is a secretary, but we see that hey, that one is really good with analytics and logic, then why is she that in that position? Sometimes you will ask yourself. So proper matching also of skill set is very important when you are leading a team. It's not about how many diplomas you have on the on your employee's bag, or how many ano ba yung pag meron tayong mga awards and mga rewards na natanggap nila ng college, or
Mhm.
how many research. It's not about that for us. It's about, are you really dedicated to excel? Because in our firm, what we prioritize is excellence above all. So whether you're a janitor, whether you are a programmer, whether you are the CEO, if you are not excellent, then you're not for LZ.
Wow. Wow. It's interesting that you mentioned because uh the kind of management that you do uh is different, I guess, from my experience, because um I've had bosses na who are so competitive that they make enemies from their own team members. That's how competitive they are. And it sucks. That's why they're not my bosses anymore.
It's really sad how.
Yeah, because yeah, I guess yeah, that's napansin ko lang yung difference kasi nga, 'di ba? Lagi namang ganun yung um well, maybe I'm exaggerating when I say lagi, pero the boss with capital B, the boss bitch, the boss, the boss who's in the table, who gives out barking out orders, the taskmaster with the whip. Di ba? Then was yung boss eh. But from your speaking, since you're the executive and all of that, and yeah, maybe that kind of boss attitude is old school, and some people, as they age, they get fixated on things, they get fixated on how they do things, and the growth is lost. It's like there's no more room for evolution, and you talk about evolution as well, and so it's just a I don't know. It's a good thing, and it's refreshing to hear about. Well, you're young as a leader as well. It's like yeah. I've had also bosses na females, and but in females, and uh but yeah, sometimes they do this old, just do my order or else or something like that.
Oh, oh yeah.
It's like that. It's like and from what I feel from what you've said is iba yung dynamics sa company nyo and sa organization nyo, which is good to hear. So, speaking of enhancing your skills and all of that, enriching your existing talents and existing knowledge and train. Balik tayo sa'yo. What books do you read? You
Oh,
describe yourself as introverted, and I'm just pretty much guessing it, but I can feel it as well that you like to read, and I'm just curious what books maybe not just let's not start with the productivity first. Maybe just for fun for now.
Oh, for
Ano yung
fun.
mga
Oh,
binabasa mo like yeah, please.
oh yeah, for fun and for pleasure because I have my category of books. So for pleasure, for research, and pag heavy meal, ang tawag ko pa nga heavy meal versus dessert. So for
Mm.
my dessert, I have Roman classic literature and philosophy. Those are my desserts. So let's talk about the Kabbalion, the Hermetic philosophy. Let's talk about Stoicism. Let's talk about Confucius.
Mm.
Let's talk about the Oriental philosophy. So
Mm.
most of the time, those are my dessert.
Oh,
Really, those are my
okay.
desserts.
Parang baliktad ah. Parang those are my heavy meals. Baliktad. But go
My
ahead. Sorry.
heavy meals.
Sorry,
Oh my
sorry, hina-hijack ko yung moment. But go ahead. Your desserts, philosophy. Yeah.
yeah, those are my
So
desserts.
from which what subjects right now? You said philosophy, like you said Stoicism, Confucianism. Of course, there's also some others. You know, like cynicism, yung mga type ni
Oh yeah.
Diogenes, and all of that. Sa ngayon, what fiddles your I guess saan ka ngayon mas naka-focus I guess or yung humihila sa'yo ngayon?
Ang humihila talaga sa akin is the philosophy of Stoicism,
Hmm.
especially on the era of Seneca, Lucius Seneca, way back before Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So,
Well, I have
as
meditations here. I have meditation. Yeah, I have meditation. I can't find it maybe somewhere dito sa cabinet. But yeah, it's interesting because Stoicism is I don't know. It's kind of how do I describe it? It's too much. I don't know. It's too rigid for me. But yeah, it helps. Of course, if it helps, if to get to be clear headed, you know. I nabasa
yes,
mo na ba yung meditation? I would guess nabasa mo na yung meditations
I,
by
I,
the emperor.
I, yeah, I skim it, pero hindi pa ako nagdi-dig deeper because I really love the other writings of Seneca.
Na
So
Seneca.
I'm going back to Roman Empire sometimes, really. From the time that before yung pagsunog sa empire ni Nero,
Mm-hmm.
ni King Nero. So those are my readings most of the time. Pero beside from all of this classic reading, which are my desserts, I also have children's book as my as my desserts.
Mm.
So
Like who's
yes,
so sinong authors?
anything that I can grab actually. So
So
I don't know who
children's.
are the authors. Yeah. So those are some. The last children's book that I read is all about. It seems like the 10 Little Dresses. I forgot the author. And then the other book that I love that people thought is a children's book is The Little Prince.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Pretty
Hmm.
interesting. Pretty interesting. Uh. So with your desserts, book of desserts right now? What's the most fascinating thing you've discovered lately by reading these?
Hmm. What I discovered from my dessert is that even though you achieve many things in life, or you think that you achieve everything that you want to achieve, at the end of the day, you will ask yourself, is it really enough? Because you have it all, but sometimes it will not make you happy. So that's what I learned. For example, when you go back to the Roman Empire under Seneca, he is one of the best consultant of, let's just say, mentor of
Mm-hmm.
King Nero before. Unfortunately, when King Nero became the emperor of the empire itself, King Nero decided to kill Seneca because umaangat si Seneca, mas
Mm-hmm.
matalino si Seneca. So sometimes you're questioning about the capability of you are mentoring, it's a leadership thing, you are helping other people, but are these other people helping you back or making you happy? So those are the kind of dessert question I ask myself
Mm-hmm.
when I read it, when I'm reading it. And I'm rereading it again and again because uh, when you present it to this present time, parang ganun din kasi yung nangyayari sa atin eh. We, if for example, we may not be politicians or others may not be business leaders, but you are still serving your people. If you are in the leadership position, believe it or not, it's not all about the credit. It's all about how you help others and serve them because you are there in that position to serve. You are not there in the position to earn a lot. That's for my opinion. And that's what Seneca's writing taught me.
Ah, yeah. So Stoicism and Seneca and all of that. You mentioned the it still reverberates until these days, and you may be right. Actually, I've noticed then that some, I also watch YouTube for these philosophy stuff, that people are attracted to Stoicism because of that. Because, di ba, Stoicism mostly focuses on, getting your head clear. That's it.
Yes,
Some
yes,
If you read the meditation book by Emperor Marcus Aurelius, laging ganun siya. It's like whenever well, one of my most favorite quotes from that book is actually, the best revenge is not to be like that. That's it. If you haven't read it yet, you should you would. I think you would enjoy it.
should.
May
And
mga simple quips siya na ganun. The best revenge is not to be like that. Like, what?
I agree.
This guy,
I agree.
this guy's good. And then I don't know. I don't know if I should spoil it for you.
Don't
well,
worry,
well, well,
I can go
well,
back there.
you gotta read his own words then again. But, there's at some point he said there na, huwag kang magbasa ng books. You'd be disappointed. But like, what?
There,
What's the, don't read too much books, sabi niya. Because if you read too much books, then, this is just me phrasing
paraphrasing.
his stuff na. This is my digestion of that. So, parang, sinabi niya na, if you read too much books, then your mind is somehow possessed by the ideas. Don't. Parang ganun sinasabi niya. You should also rely on your instincts. You don't have to forget your instincts. Na, you know, di ba pag stoicism, you always remind yourself to, be clear-headed, emotions, hard emotions, like, no. Parang ganun yung parang flavor na, offer ng, the school of stoicism for its followers, 'di ba? For, how to discipline your mind, good mental
Yeah,
hygiene, uh yun nga. But on the other end, it's like, but, sometimes emotions are, you gotta give in. Because if you build a dam out of that, it's like, when the emotions are really, really, there's something will happen in your life that's quite unexpected, that will really, really shake the foundations of that dam and even make it break. It's like lahat ng tubig na yun na pinut off mo because of your stoic philosophy, it might crush you, it might drown you because it's just too much. The emotion is like, maybe losing someone you read. I don't read. Sorry, I'm getting into quite the dark territory here. But parang may mga ideas siya na binibigay na ngayon. And then something again, it's like when you wake up in the morning, remember this, that, there's no evil and everything depends on how you react to things. May mga ganun siya. You love meditations, and
yeah.
stoicism. We love it. Wow. But, uh on the on other stuff, I know. Wait, I gotta ask you, mayroon ka bang
Yeah,
hard
sure.
out tonight or something, or do you need to do, like, do we need to cut our conversation at a
Oh
time,
no,
kasi
we can
anong oras
proceed.
na ba? We can just
We
go.
can proceed. Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
cleared the night. Pero wag naman. Oh, I cleared the night.
Okay. Well, sure. I don't mind because I'm enjoying our conversation because we've gotten into books now. And yeah,
Yeah.
I'm kind of, I'm quite a reader as well. You said you were a graduate of mass comm. Well, I've had some experience in campus journalism, mga ganun. And in a way, by doing this podcast, I'm still, you know, communicating to the masses in a way, but not officially. In college, I took something else. But anyway, the books. Well, yeah, philosophy. Uh, so we've gone through the desserts and
Yes.
children's books. Now let's go to. I guess we're working backwards. From dessert. Pupunta tayo sa main
Very.
course. Gusto ko pa sanang soak in with the philosophical implications of what they said before to today's generation and how it impacts, the attitudes of people towards their daily life and but the dessert will just become, again, sabi ko nga sa'yo, di ba, baliktad. It's like your desserts, like, parang yan yung, parang dyan ko ginagrind yung flour ko para, parang, I dig deep, yeah. I quite to, maybe it's just me, but I tend to read, quite a lot when it comes to those like philosophical, again, yun nga, because I like mythology, and mythology is connected to philosophy, and philosophy is connected to, of course, religious beliefs. So I also dabble with those books like history of religious ideas. I got some, ano pa ba meron ako dito, uh what's that, yung kay Carlo, yung the man and his symbols, and you'll like this, kay Joseph Campbell, yung Occidental Mythology. Yung book na yun is like, if you like history, mythology of the West. That's why I can relate to yung sinasabi mo. Di ba yung like when the Roman Empire was there, si Joseph Campbell, his angle was, ano yung mga belief system nila, like, paano nag-evolve from Dionysius to Mercury to Jesus Christ. Something like that is like
I see.
like those, the that underlying layer of history and philosophy, na it's like, yeah, it's an evolution, and what prompted it. It's like dati, people were just hunters, right? So iba yung mythology ng hunters towards, like, for example, if you base it against yung mythology ng mga farmers. So when these nomads invaded the city states, the farmers sila, something changed with the relationship, and that was the Roman Empire as well. It's like the Romans, they worship the sun, but then Christianity came, and then suddenly everything changed.
Yeah.
It's well, yeah, I would agree. That's the delicious, tasty part of it. Yun yung mga juicy parts. Oh my God! So that's why ganito ganyan. It's like lots of decisions made because yung mga pagan gods nila way back, destroy them, and then there's some reactions from that. So, but yeah, I'm rambling. Sorry, I was about to ask you from dessert, main course,
Oh.
productivity, I guess. Or I'm just assuming, sorry. What is in your main course of books to enrich your, you know, uh,
Mhm. For my main course, it's all about research. So that's my main course. So everything about research, correlating, not just correlating to cybersecurity, but sociology, psychology, economy, history research as well. But philosophy is kind of different. International relations, geopolitics. Those are my main course.
mhm,
So, isama mo na rin siguro yung mga top tier news. So, when we talk about top tier, we're talking about Al Jazeera, BBC News,
mhm,
things like that. So,
mhm,
everyday research, everyday main course. And then, that's the reason why medyo baliktad ako because when you are reading research, you are more on using the analytical and logical part of your brain On the other side of the coin, when I read philosophy and let's just say uh, etymology papers, I'm using the critical thinking because it's more on the question of how and why. But when you go to research, it's all about on the quantitative part. What's the number? How many figures? Paano nangyari? What's the logic reason? So
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason why it's my main course.
Mm-hmm. You talk about geopolitics. I've heard years before. This is YouTube now. I don't really read much about it, but I watch. I do watch some geopolitics content on YouTube mostly. And
Mm-hmm.
there's this professor, this expert. I don't know, maybe you've heard of him. I forgot his name, but he had a lecture way back. He said, like 10 years ago, watch Europe, watch China. That was 10 years ago. They have, um, do you wanna, uh, I guess, yeah, what's your take on that? Yeah, watch Europe, watch China, because I agree. I agree. Like
Okay.
10 years ago, but I found it
Okay.
like years away. But yeah, watch Europe, watch China. And as we know, China right now, very aggressive. The sleeping dragon has awakened
Mm-hmm.
and it's about to swallow everything along its path. So
Okay.
yeah, do you
Okay.
want to talk about it? Tell me, because again, this is your main course. Maybe you're not, but yeah, do you want to pursue that line of conversation, ba?
Yeah, I can go with the gist, but again, I will repeat this is my opinion. It will not affect the decision or the reflection of the cybersecurity firm that I have. So,
mm,
in terms of
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
geopolitics,
mm-hmm.
so 10 years ago, when that professor mentioned about what Europe and China, then yes, I can agree with him because 10 years ago was the ASEAN. Have you heard about the ASEAN Treaty, the AEC Pact?
No,
Dun
please.
Oh yeah, the ASEAN Treaty indicates that the ASEAN region that we have, what are the composition of the ASEAN region? We have the Vietnam, Thailand, Brunei Darussalam, the Philippines, what else? Indonesia, Malaysia.
Thailand.
So
Mm-hmm.
ito yung mga bansa na magkakatabi tayo. So when we talk about the ASEAN, they said that ASEAN 10 years ago too, they said that the ASEAN will be the future hub of Asia. So, upon listening to what you mentioned and what you heard from that professor, I don't know the name. I think he is right because before then kasi, ang sabi nila, China is the sleeping giant. So, the sleeping giant means that you need to watch out because things will change dramatically
Mm-hmm.
when they open the market because whether we love it or not, and even if you love research and you're watching news, you'll see that numbers are changing, statistics are changing. We have power shift already. So that's what maybe he mentioned about. That's why he mentioned about China and Europe. And as per of no, at present, marami na rin kasing mga foreign investor coming from Europe. So marami na sila. At dumadami pa sila. So yun lang ang masasabi ko. For the China thing, whether they're an interesting ancient historical political dynasty at the same time they are very interesting in terms of how they govern their people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's geopolitics. So
Well,
everyone
and
I would
go
yeah.
ahead. Sorry, I was almost
So
interrupted.
everyone I would like to encourage you to read research and news because really it's an interesting topic.
Well, well, quote unquote interesting. Sorry, the interesting how they rule their people, quote unquote interesting. Because yeah, my eyes have been on China these past uh I don't know, a couple of months maybe ever since they made moves with the Silk Road and everything related to that. But I do understand maybe you got some, some clients from China. That's why you're hesitant to um, give it all. And I do understand. But since me, I don't have some. you know. but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
but maybe I'm about to I'd like to pursue sana maybe offline or something. Maybe
well,
offline, so, but so hindi siya public record. But yeah, I get ya. I get ya.
yeah.
I get ya. I get
But
ya.
for the record, then it's not just about China and Europe. All countries and continents or territories that we have all over the world, because we are now being anong tawag dito? Because there's no such thing nowadays as borders.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is in the internet, so you will be meeting a lot of people from different territories. So, what the only thing that I can say before we end the topic between China and Europe is this: there's a lot of interesting countries outside the Philippines that people should understand their history and their culture, because when we open the market of globalization and the internet era, and this one going to the 5.5 5.0 revolution, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Borders will be nothing. Uh
But China
we can
will. China loves borders. Sorry,
I'm
they
talking
love
about
borders. They have the Great Firewall. They have the great.
I'm
They
talking
love.
about the borders when it comes to connecting in different territories.
Yeah,
So
communication
this
borders. You mean not like
communication borders,
yeah.
not the conflict of interest or arm or conflict of interest border or national
Mm,
security border,
yeah.
because that's beyond my pay grade. It's not for me. So if you want to discuss more about China and Europe, maybe you can invite someone from all chambers, not me.
maybe, maybe. I'd like to have that conversation as well. Cause yeah,
Or
I
Professor.
have, yeah, I have. Again, I'm just an armchair guy, right? Like who likes to read up and be in the know about these things. But how long? I guess the question about China is how long till it not collapses, but how long? When will be the time that the decay comes in? Because culturally, Chinese Gen Zs are beginning to feel more and more individual. They uh, prefer to be a more individualized person, and that's an issue with their state. Um,
Mhm,
'Di ba? Like they're banning K-pop because it feminizes men, but we know that those kinds of things na uh, they don't gain popularity points for those. And with the
mhm,
population, their aging population, there's a shift of power, and with their leaders wanting to be president for life. I mean, yeah, it's but yeah, I gotcha. I gotcha. I understand that it's a really really massive topic that na masarap pag-usapan. But yeah, I guess for the purposes of our session today, let's yeah, we can cut it with the China Europe thing. But yeah, it's interesting. It's really interesting. I don't often talk to a lot of people who are into geopolitics and all of this, or maybe I just need to go out somewhere.
geopolitics is very beautiful if you will see it in a different perspective, not just in a way that you need to be an open-minded person to understand how other nation thinks, because each territories has their own rule of law. So
Mm-hmm.
when you talk about their own rule of law, we need to respect it. That's how their country works. And if you enter one territory from another, then you need to follow the rule of law. And if
Mm-hmm.
other foreign entity coming to our country as well, enter our country, open their businesses here, they need to follow a rule of law as well. So
Yeah.
that's how geopolitics work. It's all about respecting the territory and respecting how they think. If we don't do that, then we won't be getting enough economic growth and investors as well. And
Mm-hmm.
yun lang ang masasabi ko. If we
I
respect
understand. Mm-hmm.
Respect
Because
talaga siya.
there's also an argument talaga like, yeah, you should ally, like you should Philippines should ally with China because the Philippines has more in common with China because you're both from Asia than the Philippines is like more in common with Americans. But that's another story again. Yeah, thanks for
It's
that
another
insight
story.
because I understand there's still conversations about it, but then again, those are geopolitics. But when culture comes into play, that's when things get messy because that's the irrational part of the equation. It's like, yeah, sure, do some deals, do some this and that, but what's the ramifications when cultures collide, 'di ba? It's like people coming over here, we over here is like what and all of that. But yeah, pretty interesting topic. So, but we gotta move on because we're gonna run out of time, and my computers I think is running out of space because we're pretty recording recording at pre. I got like about 6 gigs left. But anyway, yeah, well, thanks for that. Where do we proceed from geopolitics? We went into the books, went into your productivity. So I guess yeah, we've been talking for quite a while now. So let's shift the gears a bit. So from that serious stuff. So from here, from the current state of your organization at the moment, let's go back to your organization and you. Um, yeah, I guess the question is the future. What do you envision for you and your company?
Oh, for our company, we're seeing growth. We're seeing possible opportunities because we are now no, we are not transitioning to digital realm. We are already transitioning to it. So that's number one. So that's the answer to your question. We're
Mhm.
seeing growth, we're seeing potential possibilities, but also we are seeing, let's just say, challenges because not everyone are well adept or not everyone can totally adjust on what's going on today's era. Everything is fast today. Mabilis lahat. So
Mhm.
if hindi ka agad mag-a-adapt, kung hindi ka flexible, kung hindi ka magre-upskill at skill ng skill set mo, then you will be left behind, whether you graduated from college or you have PhDs. It will not define or it will not give you the assurance that you will have a job in the future. So the only thing that I can say for the future for our listeners is keep on learning, people. Keep on learning because things are fast. Tomorrow you think today is good. Tomorrow, iba na naman.
Mhm.
The next coming weeks, iba na naman. So keep on learning. Do not stop learning. That's the only thing that I can say. And even in our team, yun din yung value na meron kami. We don't care what age you are in. We just care for one thing in terms of development. Learn. Learn new things, learn new stuff, learn the things that you don't want to learn before because you can have this idea or an idea to innovate in the future or you don't know that you have the potential to lead. So we keep on drilling it into our minds that keep on learning, everyone. Keep on learning.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
there,
And it's
yun lang.
and it's virtually free these days, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's virtually free, and yeah, but here's the thing: learning is hard, and people are lazy. Sorry, learning is hard, but they don't want to grind. That's it. The grind. The grind stops people from learning. Cause
It's also discipline.
yeah.
When you want to learn, you need to have your you need to have your you need to discipline yourself to have your own ritual as well so that you can adapt very fast on what's going on kasi kapag hindi talaga maiiwanan ka. And checking about what's going on in the market, I keep reminding everyone, whether that's my team or not, or even friends, come on, read, learn, and read, upskill, and learn. Paulit-ulit lang talaga ako, hero.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, yun lang talaga.
I don't mind actually because you're really driving the point there na talagang, yeah, really. Seriously, that's the key these times. Like imagine the opportunities that we have right now. Like you can learn on the palm of your hand, 'di ba? It's like the the content you consume, if you're what you eat, 'di ba? Then you are also what your brain eats. It's like what I was sinasabi to when I was giving talks way back when the before the pandemic, when you're still allowed to have like like a room full of people in a public setting. It's like, yeah, sure, learn. Um for example, spend all your time grinding Korean novelas or something like that. Diba? Like do that all day. It's like, yeah, sure. You can be an expert on Korean novelas and all of that. But where's the market in that? Well, maybe you can vlog. How do you monetize it? And
Except if
diba?
except if they're learning the Korean language and they want
Mhm.
to be an interpreter or
Yeah.
translator, then that's
Yeah.
monetary.
But the majority of the people who watch Korean novellas are not really, they're not really into that. Point well taken. Like, yeah, sure, have be an expert in the Korean culture and that. But then again, uh, you don't want to regret it once you spent all your time, because where you pay your attention the most is, of course, it's what makes you, 'di ba? Like you spent your time. Pretty inspiring that you spent your time, you read about your master, I mean, you've written about your master's degree and relating to maritime stuff, and now you've read more maritime stuff, and now you're successful CEO of company, of cybersecurity company, and this, it's just, it didn't come in like magic, right? Right?
But
It's not like a
no,
walk in the park. I would
no,
guess. There's
all
really so
flat
much in
is
there. I would imagine there's some traumatic experience along the way as well. About when you pursue a path of independence. Yeah, but there's the reward, right? The independence, that you get to be your own boss, and yeah, with the pros and cons, like, yay, I'm out of my 9 to 5, but then you got a 5 to 9 now. I would guess. You
more
would,
than 15 hours, more
di
than
ba?
80. So
Di ba?
if you are in this position, it's not glamorous. It's all
Mhm.
about it's really not glamorous. It's the opposite of what other people thought.
But
Not.
is it worth it? On your case, in your case, is it worth it from
It
day
is.
zero?
It is, especially if I'm helping other people. And because when I receive or when the board of directors mentioned that you are a qualified CEO of the firm, I had realized that, hey, what kind of CEO should I be? What kind of CEO do I want to be? Do I want to be a CEO who wants to generate more money just because we want sales? Or do I want to be a CEO because money will follow, but my priority should be I want to serve? And I'll go with the latter, hero, because money, if there's excellence, money will follow. If there's persistence, the right sales will follow. That's the thing for me. But being a CEO right now, my goal is to really, how can I serve? How can I help the businesses? How can I help my employee? That's the only thing that I have in mind. Not 100% magkano yung papasok monthly, magkano yung ano. I know that it will benefit the company. Yun talaga yung goal kung bakit ka nagnenegosyo. Gusto mong yumaman. Yan yung pag-iisip ng marami, di ba? Gusto mong yumaman. But on my point, money will follow if we are excellent. Money will follow if we give the services with integrity and excellence and credibility. So my goal is to serve, not totally to be the richest person in the world. That's me. I'm a weird CEO.
Well, I think this is a good place to stop. I mean, to stop for now. Those were, I think, those are really beautiful closing words for this session. And I hope we get to talk again pag hindi ka na busy, and maybe we can talk about more about, I don't know, maybe some other stuff, the philosophy, some of the lighter stuff. And yeah, I think it's a good place to stop. Thank you for taking the time, for indulging me in my own weirdness, like doing this, like, and yeah, thank you so much. And I
Thank
hope to
you
talk to
too.
you soon again.
Of course. And keep safe, hero, and stay healthy.
You too.
Okay, doke.
You too.
Okay.
Bye for now. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you. Bye bye.